Okay, everyone, part number 2 of my TinyDB tutorial. This will be showing you in runtime how all of our coding from the blocks editor works in the saving of information, as well as pulling that information out of the TinyDB and loading each text block, as well as the picture and the checkbox with the corresponding correct information. I have actually installed this particular program onto my emulator, so the information is persistent now, and it's not going to be removed when I close this program out and show you the screen initialize aspect of things. Remember that TinyDB data is only persistent so long as the program is installed on the phone. It is not persistent while your phone is connected to the blocks editor. So as you can see, we've got this text box here where we're going to enter a person's name, as well as the date of birth block, the phone number, the email address. There's a big save button, our set a picture button, the checkbox, which will check if this person's a relative. And as you can see, the list picker is actually enabled because I have already uploaded a few names into our list of people, and that made the program recognize that the list picker needs to become active once the screen initialize command was run. So if we click in here, I've got two names. I've got John Doe and Jenny. We'll click on John Doe here, and remember that the name John Doe matches this quote-unquote row heading tag that we created, text name.text. The value that I saved of John Doe became my tag and row heading for my column of information, and all of that information now gets pulled out and populates into each text field, as well as the picture and the checkbox to correspond with each indexed item that I told it to pull from the list picker right here, as you can see on the right side of the screen. So the person's name, the row heading, is John Doe. The date of birth we specified as January 1st of 2001, and his phone number 555-5555. His email john@doe.com. I click the button for set a picture, so yes, this picture gets displayed, and the checkbox value true or false. Well, in this case it's true, and so that was pulled from the TinyDB and uploaded, and the program says it's true, so therefore I have to make sure this box gets checked. Now we click on this again, and we click on Jenny here, and Jenny's name is loaded in. Her birth date in this example is February 2nd of 2002. Her number, as the song says, 867-5309. Her email address, jenny@johndoe.com. And in this case, I did not set a picture for her, and no, she is not a relative of mine. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to exit the app and open it up again so that all the fields are blank. It's easier and faster than trying to clear them all. And let's go ahead. I'm going to type on my keyboard in here. Let's save John Doe's wife here, Jane Doe, into our application, and we'll say that she was born on March 3rd of 2003. Obviously she doesn't exist yet, but that's beside the point. Her phone number is going to be 555-5556, and her email address is jane@doe.com. And then we're going to decide that no, we're not going to save a picture. She will be a relative, and actually I think I'm going to take her date of birth out because I don't really want to save that information. I'm going to now click my save button, which clears all of the fields and should have loaded her name into my list. We click here, and lo and behold, there she is. We click on her name, and now it pulls the information out for each field. So here's her name. We didn't enter a date of birth. We got her phone number as well as her email address. She is a relative, but we don't have a picture. We can go over here and click on John Doe, and oh, there's all of his information. We go over here, click on Jenny, and there's her information once again. So there you see the example of how we can create columns and rows of information in a TinyDB. While they don't appear that way and don't look like that's what they are, it in actuality is a column heading of a person's name or whatever we decided to do in our program. Whatever tag you use, this is in essence your row heading, and then your value you store under that row heading is your column, which is your list of information. All of your text fields or all of your checkboxes or all of your pictures, they get loaded up as column cells under that row heading, and then you save your rows to your list, and then you save that list to another tag that you then pull out of TinyDB in your screen initialize code, and then you load those list people, those names or those fruits or what vegetables or whatever what have you on your program that you save to your row headings. Then those get loaded into your list, global variable list, and then now all of a sudden they're loaded into your list picker, and you can call each piece of information out, and you can load your date of birth and your phone number and blah blah blah, whatever you decide that you want, that you saved under your column or your list of information under your tag or your row heading. Now you can call that information out. These are all cells that you're populating in a database program. These each correspond to a cell, and these each correspond to the cell that was saved under your list value column heading here. So you can imagine TinyDB as a database program that stores rows of information and columns of information, and you can select all of it, or you can select some of it, or you can select none of it. But it does work like you might think a database program works. Hopefully this makes sense to someone, and that it lets you know another aspect of TinyDB that you were not aware of before. And I'll see you on the flip side.